So if you drive on a road in Harris County, you should be interested in this upcoming election. There's a bond asking for $900 million in investments. How about your dependence on law enforcement? Well, there's a $100 million bond question about public safety facilities. And if you're into parks, there's $200 million question about that for you to answer. How can you find out about them? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning. David Berry is the Harris County Administrator, who joins me this morning to talk about the bonds on the ballot, how you can find out more about them. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So what does a county administrator do? Most people don't. You're under the radar. You're not like visible in front of people.
Well, that's my job. So I work for Commissioner's Court, which is the governing body of the county. I help them manage the departments that report up to them and make sure nothing falls off the to-do list.
And there's a lot on the to-do list, isn't there?
There's a lot on the to-do list, including 3 things we're about to talk about now, I think.
Well, yeah, a little bit more than $1 billion. But now it's election time. There are bonds on the ballot. You're on the stump, sort of, letting people know about it. You have a number of different community engagement meetings that are going to be available. Why is it important to do that, and what's going to be talked about in those meetings?
Sure. I think it's important for a couple of reasons. One is that it's an important question for the voters to decide. They're deciding if they trust the county to invest $1.2 billion in projects that make their lives better. And the other is to get input, because we as county staff and of course the elected officials want to do projects that actually make people's lives better. So we're getting input at those meetings. There's an opportunity for folks to submit online comments. And of course, county staff and elected officials are always keen to listen.
I'm going to put a website address for people to go to find out about your engagement meetings. We'll talk about that. But let's talk briefly about the 3 bonds.
Sure.
Okay, one of them is Proposition A. Proposition A is asking for $100 million in investments for public safety, facilities, technology you see on the board there, including law enforcement. So is there more? What's more included in that? Why is that so important?
We have a chance to, if the voters agree, to upgrade our law enforcement facilities. We've got a number of substations where cops work out of, sometimes late into the night. We haven't renovated them in 30 or 40 years. We have a
30, 40 years they haven't been renovated? Okay.
We've kept the ceilings from leaking, but they could definitely use an upgrade if the voters agree. We just got our criminal justice complex back up and running after Hurricane Harvey. So I think there's some opportunities to make that even more resilient, whether that's backup generators or other improvements. We got to keep all that stuff running.
That's a part of it. Proposition B is the biggest of the 3 bonds. It's for $900 million. Focuses a lot on road-related issues. But what are the key parts of this one?
Sure. So roads obviously means how people drive around, and it's important that they sit in traffic as little as possible. It's also really important that they drive as safely as possible. So we've actually got a little bit of this bond, $50 million, set aside to doing projects that could reduce fatalities, reduce accidents. And then the drainage piece is important too, because our streets and their drainage are really important to keeping folks safe from flooding. So there's some money to make sure our streets can carry the water away from our homes and businesses and get it to our bayous and channels.
I want to tell everybody we're going to do a Houston Newsmakers Extra. We have more to talk about, so we're going to go to our website and do that. But we have one last proposition to talk about as well. Proposition C, asking for $200 million for parks and other things. And I thought, including here, people with disabilities, inclusive parks for people with disabilities, something we really haven't thought of, but my goodness, we should have before now.
Absolutely, and there's actually a great example of that in the James Driver Inclusive Park, where it's a place that people of all different abilities can go relax and play. And one of our goals is to bring up all the county parks to meet Americans with Disability Act standards, and also to look at connecting those parks better, because it's important not just to have them, but make sure people can get there, whether that's driving, walking, or biking.
So it's harriscounty2022bond.org. That's
right.
The website. People can go to that. By the way, I've done it. I've gone on it, and you can go there. You can find all kinds of connections to where these community engagement meetings are. You have a bunch of them next week, don't you?
We have one in person down in Pasadena. We've done them all around the county, and then we have 6 virtual ones. And I will say that's not the last opportunity. When we do a big project, we try to make sure to reach out and get folks' input on how to get it done.
Everybody needs to do that, because you're going to vote. They're going to vote. And so you need to know what you're voting for, right? So go to that website, get that information. David Berry, thank you. We're going to do more on this Newsmakers Extra. But again, remind you, the website, harriscounty2022bond.org. We'll see you there, right? let's just all go there. We can find out more about what we need. Hey, back of the